Well, first of all, I think that there is being asked or invited to do a pavilion brings up this question: is a house inside of another house? It's sort of it's if not a contradiction, it's sort of raises questions. And I had many thoughts on different ways to do this, different ways to sort of present my work or how I look upon things. But again, as it is inside of a house, it's sort of, I felt that doing a house which has to do with something built outside became too complicated. So, but then I found this possibility to actually work out a full-scale model of a room. And as it happens, we are now, right now in the construction phase, beginning the construction of the crematorium in Stockholm, where we have this, there are many quite large spaces, but there's also one particular space which is very special to me and special to the building, because it's the one room in the building where the mourners, where the people who are coming to see maybe their relative for the last time before he or she is cremated. So that is the room where they can see the deceased. It's also the room where they can overlook how the cremation is taking place. So it's a kind of, in Swedish it's called anhörighetsrum. So it's the room where the relatives may gather, and they may come and fetch the urn after the cremation, but they may also see the deceased in the open coffin. And the whole building, so this is in fact it's a model of a space which you will always see from the inside, like any room, like where we are now. But then it's the odd fact that it's actually, now you will see it from the inside. It's not full scale, it's not 1:1, but it's 1:1.6. So it's a bit smaller, but it's still large enough so you can enter and see the space how it is. And this space is not at the exterior, it doesn't have windows along the facades, but it does have a skylight bringing down light in a slit from the roof, from above. And that's a tiny slit at the end of the room. And the room is not, in reality, will be something like 8 by 4 meters. And it does have a vaulted ceiling, like a barrel vaulted ceiling. And this building, this crematorium at the cemetery, on the exterior it's all brick. It's actually a Danish brick, and it's a very hard burnt brick, so it's the same dark brown brick on the facades as well as on the roof, which is sort of has a low inclination. So whereas the exterior is relatively, has a robust quality of the brick, the interior is much lighter and much of another kind. And I wanted to try, like we have in some other buildings, do this in concrete, but then not a concrete which has a color in it, but rather the actual, it's also a Danish cement, it's the Aalborg cement, which is all white, and then there's the ballast is the dolomite cross. So that creates an incredibly brilliant quality to the material. And also what is interesting, it's not like a piece of art, but the casting is really done in a way where nothing, once you've taken away the formwork, everything that is done in the process you can see, because there will be no paint, nothing on top of the actual concrete. So it's and that goes also for the main spaces of this building. But the pavilion then here is this interior where you enter and you have the slit at the center or the end of the room, and you have also the perforations because we needed some sound insulation, and instead of having that in the concrete, we have that in a white glazed bricks, also even more brilliant in their qualities. And so this is really, I'm very happy because it is a kind of full scale. We do a lot of models in the office. We do models in first very small scale, so you can bring to an office or you can bring to a meeting, but then finally we try to do models of the spaces in, say, 1:25 or even 1:20 or 1:10. And this, you could say, is almost a culmination of that, because it's almost a full-scale prototype. I mean, I'm interested in doing, in a way, spaces, and I think maybe why I should say that to some extent I think I focus more on the interiors in the buildings rather than the exteriors. Not saying that the exteriors are not important, but I think you can control the interior in a way, and that's why again this prototype here at Louisiana is interesting, because it is actually an interior. It's completely, you see it from the outside, but this is the only time it will happen. Only in the construction site they will see it for a while like this. And so creating an atmosphere that is both sort of powerful in a certain way. I think that I certainly have ambitions that you will remember. I don't know the word, but I think you want to give a powerful character to the room. But with that, again, it's this sort of duality that if it's only powerful, you only remember it. It needs to have a kind of gentleness as well. So if it's in the materials so frequently, and I think for this church at Årsta, working on it, I found this the kind of gravity and clemency, sort of two words that became, it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty powerful as a space, but it's that may be interesting to, but as it will be used by people who are sad or happy, and they shouldn't sort of scratch themselves and so on. You want to give them other qualities. When you touch something, or if you look at, there's a pattern to the floors. You want to give them something else, which is not powerful, but rather tells a story, or could be sort of. So this kind of combination of the strong and the gentle is, and as I said, gravitas and the clemencia is sort of the mild, the mild quality. I think those are, and that the church is, of course, it's sort of it's such a specific, it's such a special room, such a special. So there, maybe I had to think of it, but I think it goes for many other buildings that I've been doing. That at a building site, it may look interesting to see a powerful space, but once you are there and you have your children slipping on the floor, and if it's all rough concrete, it wouldn't, or it doesn't wear well when it gets stained. So the kind of roughness that you could say as powerful is rarely sufficient for the kind of human life that is to be lived there. So I think, and that goes with our architecture, is such an interesting but such a complex profession with all those different aspects. The long timelines, and thinking of the actual kid who's going to be in that daycare center sort of has, and I certainly would want the daycare center to have a long life and to have a certain power, but not more than that it's also sort of good for that other quality that is needed.